So, here we go.
Hey guys.
Welcome to the Michel Matters Podcast. I'm Jacques Michel.
And I'm Jackie Michel. This is a podcast where we talk about all of life's matters.
Everything you could think of to like save your marriage, I probably did.
One day I said I have to do my best to realize what I wanted, and I did it.
And how people handle it.
And he had a whole campfire inside the property. Like
What?
And he was like in there living his best life.
No, because the ones that have something to offer are taken. They're taken. They're taken. Let's be real.
When I made that commitment to dedicate my life to Jesus Christ, even though I didn't stay faithful to Him, He remained faithful to me.
Tune in and join the conversation.
2023. Oh, that was terrible. I didn't. Should we keep that?
Yeah.
All right. It's been too long. I blame the rusty podcasting skills on. It's been a long break.
I think it's because like we listen to the intro before we go in,
Mm-hmm.
and what Dre said, like every time I just be like,
That's hit.
That's a word.
That hit.
That's such a word.
Yeah. So
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Oh,
How's everybody?
man.
We won't be before you long.
Yeah. I don't know. This is gonna be interesting. Like podcasting in 2023. I think we have come to some decisions.
Yeah.
Are we rolling it out now? I guess we'll roll out just part of it.
Go ahead.
So yeah. The podcast at this point is going to be
over. No,
Nah.
I'm joking.
No. It's not over. Podcast is not over. But I think we'll be dropping. I think a reasonable expectation from us in 2023 is one podcast a month. Now,
from the Michel Matters.
so that's what I'm saying. I don't want to go too far into it.
Okay.
Because we made promises before.
We did.
And we have not come through. So I will only tell the people what they can count on.
Okay.
And what you could count on in 2023.
From the Michel Matters podcast.
From the Michel Matters podcast is one podcast a month.
Yes.
Will you get more content? To be continued, to be determined.
From the network.
But as of right now, that's probably what it's going to look like. And I will call this growth. Because we definitely overestimated what last year was going to be like, look like. It was a lot, family. It was a lot going on. But I think 2023 going to look a little different. We'll get into that. We're going to talk a lot about like what the new year is going to bring. And
well, we don't know what it's going to bring.
Well, yeah. Very true.
We just know how we've grown.
Correct.
Yeah. And just, I guess, our expectations of ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, we never know what it's going to bring.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think like going back between when we last recorded and today, if anything important has happened. I think this is not in order though. So
it's not.
Yeah. I think only like two big things happened since.
I got vision.
Yeah, Jackie got her IBBL. she got her vision. She was blind and now she sees.
Yes, once was blind, but now I see. I got LASIK. LASIK eye surgery, I guess it's called.
Yeah. And
I have been thinking about getting LASIK for years. And I just didn't do it because I was scared. Well, I don't even know if I was scared. I was just kind of like...
You were just hesitant. I don't know.
Yeah, I liked wearing glasses.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know. I don't know why I didn't do it.
I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. I was scared.
You watched it happen, didn't you?
Yeah, some of it. What I could see. They had like the little live stream, but there was one live stream that was just on your like retina. And then there was another live stream that was just like, I saw, because they had different live streams you could watch. Yeah. And I wasn't sure which one was you. So I was just like, because there's so many people around you. No, I do not. Not that close up. No, I do not know what your eyes look like. I could not tell you apart from any other basic eye.
Okay. I mean, I watched some of the other surgeries because I was the first of my scheduled block, I guess, to go. It took like 3 minutes, literally.
I'm definitely like, I logged in because the lady, they sent me a text. So the way it worked, I dropped Jackie off. Mm-hmm. And then
because they told me I had to be there for like 4 hours.
Yeah, so I dropped Jackie off, and then I think afterwards what I did was I went to go pick up turkeys for the Good News turkey giveaway. Mm-hmm. So I went because they told me it was going to be a long time before we actually got in. So all right, that gives me time to go, and getting those turkeys is always an adventure. So whatever. So I did that. I went to like 4 different Publixes to go get turkeys. Mm-hmm. And then after I was leaving like the last one, the lady texted me. She was like, "Oh, Jackie's about to go into surgery." I was like, "Oh, snap." And then I don't know if she sent me the link or I already had the link. So I listened to, or I clicked over to it. And they have a bunch of different streams going on. So that's where I was like, I did not know.
Yeah, that's confusing.
Exactly which one was you. And I couldn't tell because like all I could see was like a little bit of leg, because there's like not a bunch, but it was people around you, so I couldn't like see her face or anything. People in there, yeah. So I got to see a little bit, but I was like, and I wasn't that far. So because I was heading back, and by the time I got there, you were already done. So I was like, well,
yeah, because I didn't know you were in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, you can come up, because I saw this guy that was getting the surgery. His fiance or whoever she was up there. So I was like, oh, I didn't know y'all could just be up here.
Yeah.
So then I was like, yeah, come up. And so we watched his surgery take place.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. I was like, that's what happened to me just now? Interesting. But when I watched his, I was like, that's not that bad. Like, you don't feel anything. Honestly. You just feel like if you're putting your hands on your eye and applying pressure, that's all you feel.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So how do you feel?
I wake up now and I see it's great. It's great. I just feel like dryness sometimes in the morning.
Yeah.
So I'll just put the little eye drops or whatever. But other than that, I'm like, wow, I could have did this 5 years ago.
Yeah. Like, do you wish you did it 5 years ago?
I don't really think like that, but I could have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was worried. I was just like, man, I hope they don't mess my girl eyes up. I was like, but other than that, I was like, okay, I was happy for you, but I was just nervous about, I mean, it's your eyes. That's my thing. Like, it's one of those things.
But they do it in a couple minutes. People have been doing it for years.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then I did a survey for them, and then we got like free movie tickets. So that was cool.
Which, oh my gosh, we used. We didn't. This is not even. So we have like a list of what we're gonna talk about. This wasn't on the list, but we're here now. We're here now. So we went to the movies, and I think we've been to the movies 2 times since the last recording. And I think my consensus is I'd rather do it at home at this point.
I think you're just used to it now. You're used to the
movie theaters have gotten lazy. They don't care anymore.
It's the same experience since we were like 5.
Mm-mm. We went to the movie theater and they didn't have butter for the popcorn.
Okay. So what movie was that?
No, not butter. They didn't have salt.
They didn't have Oh yeah, they did have
because they had popcorn and they had popcorn and they had butter, but they didn't have salt. We went to go see Black Panther.
Black Panther 2.
Yes.
Yeah, that sucked. So did we get the popcorn? No.
Because the lady
first of all, she was like a college age,
I don't know,
or high school age girl, and clearly hates her job.
And I feel like she hated me.
I don't remember what theater it was.
I tell you, it was a Regal, the one it's out west. So I guess that would be considered Pembroke Pines.
Pembroke Pines, yep.
It's called, I think it's West Fork. It's not the Egyptian one. That's a movie call.
Just kidding.
It was a Regal. I think it's a Regal West Fork. And I'm putting them on blast because I felt that was horrible service.
So you were like, okay, can I get a popcorn?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, but we're out of salt. And then you're like,
out of salt. I'm sorry.
There's literally 3 ingredients to popcorn.
Duh.
It's the popcorn, the butter, and the salt.
Y'all don't do much else anymore. How y'all don't have salt?
I thought it all came together, like in a package. Or I mean, that makes sense. So then you're like, well, do you think the butter would help? Because I think I asked you to ask her that. Mm-hmm. And she was like, I guess at the top.
The first layer. I was like, hey, I'm going to need y'all to come correct. So
she did not want to be there.
But I just feel like the movie theater don't be hitting because even...
And then it was like, oh, can I have... what did I ask for? M&M's. That's my movie candy of choice. Mm-hmm. I was like, can I have M&M's? She was like, you can have whatever you can grab on the rack. I was like...
At this point, like, y'all might as well just have self-checkout.
I could have stopped at Dollar Tree before I came here.
Man, I was
what
upset.
We should have done.
That's if I just feel like the movie theater don't be hitting the way it used to. They don't care no more. Even like the audio, I don't know. I just feel like as a kid, I used to feel like
fine.
Nah, I used to feel like the movie theater, the bass used to knock,
rumble.
Like I used to feel like it was a real experience, like because that was the difference between. That's why when people at the house, they have a home theater, they get the surround sound. They want the boom.
You feel like our surround sound is better. Really?
Yeah, 1,000%.
That's crazy.
And I have salt.
We do have salt.
I have salt.
Yeah.
So I was just like...
And we have the family size.
I was upset, though. I was upset.
Yeah. And the other one was the Whitney movie.
Yeah, we did go see the Whitney movie.
So that was interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting. But I think that's just my consensus, man. Like, if that thing is streaming somewhere, I'd rather put the money... Like, it was good because it was like, we get out the house, kind of have a day. Going to the movie used to be a thing. I like to hear people's
reactions, too.
I don't care what
they come on, it's Black Panther, and then, everybody loved Whitney, so...
I was upset though. I don't know.
Yeah, but at least the second time we had popcorn.
Yeah,
with butter and salt and candy. But I brought candy.
Yeah,
from home, which was great.
I'm considering bringing my own popcorn next time. But at this point,
I feel like we should just stop at Chick-fil-A next time.
I don't know. I felt the way. Anyway, that wasn't even on the docket.
It wasn't.
But that happened.
We're here. And then we went to Aruba.
Yeah.
So I got LASIK for my birthday. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't able to like fully emerge in the water.
Yeah. That was one thing I ain't like.
But I did go to the water. Like I still went in.
Yeah.
But it was beautiful.
Yeah, Aruba was dope. Aruba was dope.
Yeah. It doesn't top Turks for you?
Nah.
Really?
No.
Okay. I feel like the food was way better here.
Well, okay, because in Aruba, we like ventured off more than we have typically on our vacations.
Yeah.
Because I'll keep it a bean. Like, I get very...
We ventured off in Barbados.
Yeah, a little bit. But Barbados was kind of like, it was locked down. It was COVID.
Yeah.
So it's kind of tough. But me personally, when I go out, I be nervous. Like, I don't want to be a statistic. I don't want to be like a traveler that got... scooped up, like being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Hey, that's just me. That's me. But in Aruba, we kind of like ventured off. We went like everywhere. Restaurants because we were at a resort, but we actually like went to different restaurants outside of the resort.
We went
on our own. Yeah. That trip
fun.
It had its ebbs and its flows.
Your favorite part, wasn't it?
That was when going off script.
Hot.
That was crazy. And it was my fault too, because I picked the long hike. But
yeah, because you were like, well, we made it all this way. We might as well. I was like, all right.
In 2022, that was my thing. We're here now, right? So like, I was just like, those were the cards we were dealt. We showed up. So we went to the like, they have a big like national park. Mm-hmm. We went to the national park.
With like the natural pool and all
that. So we assumed that just getting to the park, we could do whatever was in the park. So they have different like attractions. So they have like a natural pool. I think there's a beach there. I can't remember. There was something else that we wanted to do there. And then it was when we got closer, and this is one of those times was like, I need to trust my gut. So when we went, Jackie told the driver she wanted to go to the national park. And in my mind,
I said natural pool.
No, you said the park.
Oh.
Yeah, you said the park. So,
but I called in advance.
Called who?
Or they called in advance to make sure that they were open.
They were open. That wasn't the problem. The problem was we got to the park, and as we were getting closer, I was just like, how far is the pool, the natural pool from the park, like the park entrance? Mm-hmm. And it was miles. And we just assumed that,
you needed like
fine. Yeah. Because one of the things about, I guess, like Aruba, their national park, and it was, all this was hitting me as we were in the car. And I was like. And
that's the thing with you, right?
Go ahead.
Because you're a very smart guy. Mm-hmm. But I feel like you be holding on to information that's in your head to the last minute. And I'm like, if you have reservations about this, why would you not have said something, I don't know, 30 minutes ago before we got in this car?
Look, all that's fair. And this is one thing about me, and I know this about myself. And you know what? Maybe it's a room for growth in 2023. But like, I feel like I can be a bit of a negative Nancy at times.
And I'm very much like, let's go.
Yeah, you think everything's going to work. It's going to be fine. And I just be like, So then my mind like, dog, do I want to ruin this? Or do I want to bring up like, oh, you always think of the worst case scenario or whatever?
No, but then we collaborate and figure something out.
Sure. So eventually, like, I asked dude, I was like, hey, how far is it? He was just like, oh, I don't know. I'm just dropping you off at the front type deal. And I was just like, okay. So when we get there, we asked the people and they're like, well, where's your Jeep? So I was like, huh? And they're like, to get to the natural pool, like, you can't just go there just like this. You got to get a Jeep.
Yeah.
And then she added, oh yeah, and the pool closed today. And they're like, oh, great. So then she was just like, she felt bad for us, I guess, because
you could do a trail.
Yeah, she's like, you could do a hike, you could do a trail. And she's like, we have this one. It's like a 1-point-something mile trail. And I was like, bro, we drove 30 minutes here. I'm not gonna do a 1 mile trail. We finished that in 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. So then she was like, oh, we have a 3 mile trail. Like, and granted, not necessarily dressed for this. Like, we
put shoes.
We did. Luckily, before we left, because I was like, when we were like, oh, we're going to natural, like, oh, that sounds like flip flops or, you know, barefoot vibes. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, let's grab sneakers. So before we left, we wore sneakers or whatever. Yeah. So thankfully, the lady was like, do you have the right footwear? I was like, I guess. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't come dressed for that. I came with a nice little shirt. I'm thinking I'm just finna vibe, take pictures. It was not that. We went, and it was like, it wasn't just like a hike or trail. It was like a journey. Like, you going up elevation, like you going up, down, you got rocks, you got all type of stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
It was nice. I took great photos.
I have great photos. I was not happy.
Got a good sweat in.
It was a sweat now.
Got our steps in, you know.
Yeah.
I think I had my watch by then.
I definitely, you had your watch. I definitely had my watch on. Look, man, no, did you have your watch yet?
I think so.
Yeah, maybe you did. Because I think we got that for your birthday.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're welcome.
Great gift.
Yeah, because you wasn't too keen on it at first.
I wasn't. It's mainly for fitness purposes, to be honest.
It's super clutch.
And for it to like remind me to stand up.
Yeah, it's super clutch. Anyway, so Aruba was cool. We ventured out. We did good things. We actually, like, our driver was real cool. The driver we met after we did that walk.
Yeah.
So
you know, God is good, because sometimes that was our fault. You know, but he was like, you know what? I'm gonna send somebody who's born and bred here, who knows the land. Yeah. And then he became like our little friend for the weekend.
Little buddy. Yeah, little dude.
Dude. Yeah, so we asked him lots of questions about the island.
Yeah.
He like took us on a tour.
It turned the trip around. Like, the trip was okay before that, but after that, I feel like it really turned.
Yeah.
Like, it really got way better.
Yeah, because he was like, oh yeah, y'all can walk around here. Y'all can do this.
So he gave us real good recommendations, good places to go eat. That was one of our food recommendations turned out to be like probably one of the better meals we've had on a vacation, if not the best meal we've had on a vacation.
I'm not going to say all 2022 because Staccato was great. Top 3 meals.
Top 3 meals of the year, but probably the best meal I've had on a vacation.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Definitely.
Top 2, not number 2.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So Aruba was dope. The Flamingo Beach was
so cute.
Yeah, it was what we expected. I wish we would have spent more time there, even though we were across the street. We didn't go as much, but I wish we would have done more there.
I mean, there's not much to do there. I think we spent
but we could. I feel like we could have did the cabana thing, like really vibed and spent more time. Okay, it would have been cool.
Yeah,
but enough of that.
I think it was great. Yeah. So now we're here. We had a long. It felt like a long Christmas break.
Yeah,
because we were just home, and a lot of people were just home.
Yeah,
that we hung out with. But now it's the new year. So what are we talking about?
Man, so typically I'm not a New Year's person as far as like, I'm not big on making resolutions or Jackie's favorite vision boards and all that. That's not me. I don't really like move like that, but I don't know. I really can't put my finger on what it is this year, but I really felt, I'll say led to like really, to really like take this time of New Year and like reflect, plan, just like really like dig in this time. And I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
I think so. How it started, well, I don't know if this is how it started because we've been just growing this whole time, but I saw a TikTok where this wife was posting about how her and her husband were meeting for their New Year goals.
Yeah.
And all this other stuff. And I was like, that is so cool. And I think I sent it to you, or I just showed it to you.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is so cute. We should do that or whatever. Which we kind of do, but we've never done it in this way. Like this girl had a whole agenda and like papers and like whatever, charts. And then you were like, let's do it. And I was like, what? Like, how are you going to do that? And then you were like, I'll just come up with an agenda. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I got it. I'm like, okay. Who is this guy, right? Because you don't really do stuff like this.
I don't.
So you took us to brunch.
Let's backtrack.
So we stayed at the Hard Rock.
Stayed at the Hard Rock. And then if we backtrack more, actually that's another thing we didn't add that happened. We did, the night of, we did a market at church where you sold your...
I did.
Basically, you promoted Bear Reverie.
Yeah.
So you promoted alterations. You sold garments. Yeah, you sold a lot of garments, especially for such a small event.
Yeah,
that was a lot of sales.
Yeah, and it was just like church people.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. For such a small event, you actually had a good amount of sales. And so we did that night, and then that night we took it from there. We went to the Hard Rock. Shout out my boss. And
who just random free
gave us a comp night at the Hard Rock in a great room. So we don't
be paying for this stuff. Like
we don't post or anything about it. It just kind of happens, like because that's the second night we've done that.
So I guess the plan was we'll stay at the Hard Rock, and then you had your agenda.
Yeah.
And we went to brunch the next morning.
Yeah, because you fell asleep.
Thanks for that.
Growth, my bad. Growth.
It was a long day.
It was. And that always had the second time we've had a night at the Hard Rock.
Never like,
and we never get to really fully embrace the whole time we get to be there.
Yeah. Anyway. So we went to brunch the next day.
A good brunch too.
Really good in Plantation. And then you had your agenda and we went through it. This man had a vision and mission for the Michels. I was like, what?
I took it serious. And
in 8 years of marriage, we've never had a vision and mission, but now we do, guys. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think we can get into that
acronym for our name.
we can get into that in a little bit, but I guess to backtrack a little bit, right? So aside from that, because that happened before the new year.
Yeah.
Going into the new year. Yeah. going into the new year though, like what was your
because you
how did you feel?
Had to grow in different ways for you to even
get to
come
that point.
Up with that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how did I feel before the new year?
Yeah, like were you in a new year, new me?
No.
No. How'd you feel coming into the new year?
I just felt at peace. Like I just felt like, okay, so you know how like older people just talk about how settled they are in life and how they could say whatever they want because they're a certain age and whatever. I didn't feel like that, but I just felt like, man, I've gone through some stuff. Like I can rest right here. I've grown. I don't feel like I have to explain myself to certain, like, you know, like, I don't know. I just felt good. Like I didn't feel like I had to do anything to celebrate the new year or host anything. It was just us. We brought in the new year like that and we were cool about that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What?
No. I was just trying to see like,
I just felt happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause for me, I definitely felt, I like I said before, this year felt different. This year felt different for me. I cannot really put my finger on exactly.
You were like 2023 is going to be a good year. I was like,
with no, okay, I don't have
never say that.
Exactly. I have no reason. I cannot explain why I feel this way, but I do. I legitimately feel like 2023 is going to be a good year. And I'm not even saying it's going to be like everything is going to be in my favor this year. I don't even know if that's what's going to happen. I just feel like I'm in a place where I am
renewed.
Well, I'm very much open to whatever God has for me this year. Right? So
it's good. So good.
And it sounds cliche, but I think just through whatever, like the past years, whatever, I'm just open to God. Like it's more of like you know, just being once again, not to be cliche, but like content in all circumstances, right? So it's like when I say 2023 is going to be a good year, I mean, I personally, I don't know how it's going. I don't know when the bullets start flying, how it's going to react. But as of right now, I feel
everybody's like, well, wait till April.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I feel open to whatever it is at this point. And I felt like super like amped, like juice. I felt like juiced up coming into the new year, like
like an addict.
Not like an addict, not like an addict, but I was just ready. And one of the things like I wanted to do, and this was another thing, like I don't do this, like so I started the New Year's with a fast. Me and a friend of mine, I'd say Chris, we did a podcast because he's been on the podcast before, so I feel comfortable. So saying it's like me and Chris, we started the New Year's with a fast. And personally, I feel like that was a great reset. And
Go ahead.
Am I that guy now? Because I feel like I feel super clean. Like
you're using words that I've been hearing throughout.
Exactly, and I don't want to be that guy because these are the words you hear at the beginning of the new year. But this year, it feels authentic for me. Whatever, you know what? You laughing at me?
No, I love this.
Nah,
it's just okay. So, how do you feel like? What ways have you grown to get here, though? You get what I'm saying?
Man, so in what ways have I grown to get here? I think and because it's hard to explain without like context, but I guess the simplest form is like I feel like 2022 I was kind of humbled, right? So I don't know if that's the best way to describe it. So to some people, and once again, this is all, you're not gonna get context because it's a podcast. I'm only gonna give you so much, but I feel like I did spend a lot of 2022 like secretly angry at God and stuff. And it was, I don't know, towards the latter end of the year where I kind of felt like the shift start turning for me. So there was growth there. And I think to get over that, I had to grow to be like not so stuck in my own head and thinking that everything necessarily that I want or whatever is what was most important. So I think that was kind of like
the how.
Yeah. So it was like me kind of taking a shift away from that. Like it took some bit of humbling. And I think that was growth. I think I did start to create good habits in 2022 that I felt like, okay, that's just like a springboard. Let me carry that in the next year. And then I think, so creating some of those good habits showed me that, okay, you're capable. Like the things I haven't done before is not, like there are a lot of excuses for why I didn't do things before. Now I think creating some of these good habits show me like, okay, you can do this. So I can set new goals. So I was excited to set new goals because I had finally accomplished old goals.
That's good.
And it was like, okay, you can do this, bro. Stop making excuses. Now use this as a springboard into just, all right,
a new thing.
Add it to something else. Do something else with it.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think for me, I had to. Okay, so I grew, or I knew that I had grown. Is that how you phrase that? I don't even know. Because like I would move and then God just kind of backs up my movements. Like it's just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. Like, then I think we've talked about it on the podcast, but without like actually saying things. And I also like spilled my guts in the last episode. So like I went to therapy and y'all know that. Which is probably also why I was like not caring that we didn't touch the mic. Cause I was like, I just told all my business. Yeah. But yeah, I did that. And just our lives looking completely different than it was before COVID was like a lot. Yeah. Like the church thing was a lot. Yeah. A lot. But then us going or like just the moves that we took to find the church that we're at now and how things are playing out is like, oh, okay, God, like I see what you're doing, I guess. Like the people that we're meeting who know people that we know, or like randomly today seeing just a random familiar face. A random familiar face. And it was just like, what? You've been coming here how long? Like what? Yeah. It's like little reminders, I think. Yeah. For me. Like you're following my steps, like, and I have your steps ordered, and you just gotta trust that I'm sending you down the right path. Yeah, like things like that. I'll be like, oh, okay, thank you. Like, yeah, because I literally felt crazy like for a long time.
I was here.
I know.
So that is how my year started, right? So in my fast, part of my fast included, I journaled every day of the fast. So 7 days, it included, and I so much about fasting. So just real quick. So what I did was I fasted from wake up until 12 noon, like no eating, until 12 noon.
You literally were fasting like, we fast wrong. We don't know how to fast as a society.
Okay, that's not exactly what I said.
I'm like, just do the fast.
Okay. Thank you. Let me run through this. So I fasted. I didn't eat until 12, and then when I did eat, I was doing the Daniel's fast, I guess, quote unquote. And then I also was not using social media, I didn't listen to quote unquote secular music. And for the most part, I think I stayed away from mindless like TV and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it was a really like, okay, all right, Jocks, lock in, right? Lock in. And this is one of those things where during the fast, whenever I got hungry, I prayed. Each day had its own like designated focus. So I would do all that. And then at night when I came home from work, I would like read my Bible based on whatever today's focus was. Yeah. I journaled through that and then I'd pray. So then the first day of the fast, I opened my journal, which I'm not a journaler. Like by trade, I'm not a journaler. I opened up my journal. So before I started the my first journal the day of the fast, my first entry of the fast, I went back and read what was my last post or my last entry. Whatever, I'm an internet baby. So I looked at my last journal entry, and in the last journal entry was from November, I want to say it was November 8th, 2021. I know it was November and 2021. The 8th I kind of just made up, but it was November 2021. Mm-hmm. And I looked, and there were 4 things that I was specifically like lamenting, I don't know, bringing to God. Mm-hmm. Right. And it was four things or whatever. I won't get into specifics, but it was 4 things. And then literally all 4 of those things, God answered yes in like more than I could have asked for ways. Yeah. And that was one of the humbling moments of, so just so you know, like I wrote that in November of 2021. I didn't journal all of 2022. And like I said before, I was angry at God for a lot of 2022. Mm-hmm. So to see that from 2021 to 2023, the gap of where my life, what it looked like in between those 2 points, and how it changed completely, like it really, it humbled me. Yeah. It made me feel even worse about being angry at God, because it was like, you spent so much time being angry, you didn't take the time to like recognize what he did do in my life, because I was so focused on what he quote unquote didn't do in my life. So you know how you're like, okay, how do we, I guess you were saying how like you felt like God was working in our lives, or trust you, like you saw him working or whatever. I saw it in that moment. Like I said it, like even if I don't gain anything else from this fast, to see that like on the first day, I saw what God did for me in 2022, even when I was mad at him. Gratitude. Right? I was overwhelmingly like grateful. And then I was like, okay, all right, lock in again. Like this is even more reason to like really lock in during this time. And I felt like it was just, like I said, it was a great reset, great start to the new year. And I think like, so my whole focus during that fast was, okay, God, use me, right? Mm-hmm. That was what my theme was for that time period. Like, how can God use me? And making myself available to be used. Because I think in my anger, I was blocking some blessings. And for him not to be able to use me. But whatever. So take that, add in what we did as far as like creating a vision and a mission. And I think it was a recipe for beginning a whole great new year.
Yeah, you did that. Do we want to get into that? Like,
I mean, what do you want to get into? Because we did say.
How did you create that? And what made you decide to do that? Because you could have just made the agenda.
I could have just made the agenda. So, all right. So, and this is like beyond just personal life. This is something I truly believe about business, organization, whatever. You need foundation, right? In order to really like move forward. I think you need a good foundation. So I was like, okay, how do I plan the vision for the new year? Because to me, that is the last step of where we're going. It's like, so to plan forward, I was like, okay, how do I plan forward? It was like, okay, what matters? So the first thing I was like, okay, I wanted to create the mission. So the two key points for me were mission and then core values.
You love a good core value.
I do love core values. So I wanted to create like the base. So for me, the base starts out with, I guess to keep it short, our mission is centered around two main concepts. Mm-hmm. The two concepts are basically to love God and to love others. That is the core of our mission. And from there, like I fleshed out, what does that mean for us as a couple and as a family? This won't change the whether it's just me and Jackie, whether it's me, Jackie, one kid, whether it's me, Jackie, a million kids. Like, and
it's not a million.
Cause okay, but you know what I'm saying. Like something that I felt was consistent, and no matter what we got going on, this will always be there for us. Mm-hmm. And it was like, okay, those are two things, and I kind of fleshed that out, what that means to us. And then I created core values. So the core values were things that I felt like, we stand on these. Like, we hold these truths to be self-evident.
All right.
So just to keep it like not simple, but all right, I use our last name as the core of it because it's our family's core values.
Yeah.
And our last name is Michel, and so the M, and maybe another day we'll go into it deeper. But just real quick, the M was meaningful relationships. The I was integrity. The C was Christ-centered focus. The H was hard work. The E was education, and the L was love. And then
love.
So those are our key core values that I feel like these are rock solid. If we do nothing else, if we just live a life based on those things, I think there's success there. Like we can be successful, not just in like, you know, financially or whatever. Like,
I just feel like I have to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Because
Go ahead.
This is another, I think I've seen you go through your process, I guess, of like, what does it mean for me to be a husband? What does it mean to lead a house? What is it like? What does that even look like? Y'all keep saying it, right? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
And I feel like this is kind of like the beginning of you doing it your way.
Yeah.
I don't think everybody needs to do this, but I think this is like how you think, you know?
It is.
And so it's nice for you to put pen to paper and be like, okay, this is something we can come back to. Are we like this podcast that we're doing? Does that go with the vision and mission? Mm-hmm. Are we doing it with integrity? Are we building meaningful relationships through the podcast? Mm-hmm. You know, like just based on how you think and how your mind is, I don't know, created. This just makes sense for you. And so I'm like, even in that, I see how God is just tying up loose ends, you know, in certain things.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Like, I'm not a creative. Like, I'm just I don't know.
You're a brain.
I think.
You're a brainiac.
And not brainiac, but.
Maybe not brainiac, but you like to think.
Yeah. This is just kind of how I work through things. So, like, because the original thing was, okay, let's talk about goals. It's like, okay, how do you create goals? I think to create real goals, you kind of have to have like, okay, where do I want to go? And then the goal is like, okay, like, how do I get there? But where we want to go is determined by, to me, our core values and our mission. Mm-hmm. So if our mission is to love God and to love others, how can we do that while also like living out our core values? So then we use that to create goals. Like, these are not things that necessarily are just my goals, or it's like our goals. Yeah. So we built it out on top of that. And that was good. We did over brunch. We spoke about it.
That's great.
Yeah. Like, it was broken down. So we had like just individual goals, like as far as like health, whatever, like mental, like educational things we want to do, books we wanted to read. Yeah. And then we got into like financial things.
Or even just like day to day, I don't know, quote unquote operations, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what is the start and close of the day?
Yeah. Man, I think that could be a whole nother podcast episode. But yeah, we spoke about that.
Like, your laptop needs to be closed by this time.
And just so like, it all started because, well, this part. So what Jackie's talking about right now is, so there's like a rule we have where close of business is 6:30 p.m. Mm-hmm. And once again, working backwards, how do we get there? Jackie, I can't remember what we were talking about, but I said something, and then Jackie was like, yeah, you've been coming home late. And I'm just like, late? I feel like I've been coming home at a decent time. But we're working on two different what is standards. Late? What is late? I had no idea. She thinks late is something. I clearly think late is something else.
But then also, it's kind of like you're saying I'm coming home late, but you got clients here at the same time that I'm coming home.
I ain't say it, but you know.
So just because you're home, that don't mean you late because you're still working.
Correct.
And it's just like, okay, I gotta reevaluate.
And you felt convicted on that on your own because I didn't say anything.
I did.
I did not say anything about that
because I don't need people here all hours of the night.
So yeah, so that was one of those things. Like, okay, here's the problem. How do we solve it? Okay, we need to be working off the same standard. And then I was like, okay, we need to determine what is late before you tell me or criticize me. Like, I need to know what we're both using the same metric. So then I was like, okay, 6:30. 6:30 is close of business. And then I even had the conversation with my boss at work, like, hey, this is something I'm working on for the new year. And understand, like, I think
you work for a small company.
Yeah, I work for a small company. So it's like, it's easy to burn the midnight oil and just stay there forever long. Like, that's kind of that's like what they do there. It is not unheard of to be there till 7 o'clock at night, things like that. And we get there early. We get there at 7. So I was like, okay, having that conversation, like, hey, you're not going to get less work out of me. I just have to be more efficient between start and 6:30 and hopefully even a little less. But yeah, it was like things like that. Like, okay, we solve problems. And I'm not saying everybody needs to go as deep, but I do think I recommend like setting out time to legitimately like create attainable goals and then solve problems. Like, the new year doesn't have to be when you do it, but that's kind of what New Year's is. Like, it's a time where people take time to like reflect and focus. Yeah. So if you do it now or you do it in a month, I think it's important at some point to kind of create whatever process you think works for you and your family or whatever, and put it on paper.
Man, it's just like, so like when you have town hall meetings at a job, if your job does that.
Yeah. So corporate.
But like, okay, so I worked at corporations where we have one every quarter. Mm-hmm. In your relationship or in your personal life, you know, how often do you need a solo trip? Do you need one every quarter?
Oh, yeah.
Do you need, like, how often do you need date night?
Yeah.
How often, you know what I'm saying? Like, figuring out what that is and being aligned in those things. I think that was great from the session. And I think we could even flesh it out more.
Yeah, for sure.
And just like, okay, so when we go for a walk together, we were talking about that this morning. If we go for a walk together, is that bonding time, or is that like we just trying to get steps in? Mm-hmm. Like, because that could be two different things for both of us. Yeah. You know. So yeah, just putting that on paper. What were you about to say?
I was just gonna say, like, And then also make it something that you can kind of track and hold yourself accountable. Like, I don't want that to just be something that we did at the beginning of the year. And then like in like September, we look back and like, dog, we didn't do none of that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to go back to is like, how often are we revisiting this?
Yeah.
But I think it's great. It's, even for me, I think the way that my brain is mapped out, this is understandable. This is something I could follow. This is something I could get behind. You know, it's not just like, oh, you're a wife, so submit to the mission. It's like, okay, what is that? Like, what do you want me to do? Because
I did want your input. I didn't want to just throw it out there. Like, I definitely presented it as, this is a draft. I'm open to talking about this, adjusting it. But I did want to throw out, like, just to let you know, like, no, this is what I'm thinking about. This is where my mind is. But I do want this to be collaborative. Like, I don't want it to just be me dictating what our mission and vision is. Like, nah, this is
You don't want to be a bully.
Triggering. This is our mission and vision. That's another podcast. Like, we have so many different podcast
just stay
episodes.
Tuned. So, I think we've beat a dead horse at this point. But
yes.
if you guys have a word of the year or are focused on something this year, let us know. We'd love to hear it. Have that conversation. Do you have anything that matters to you lately?
Ooh, I was not prepared. I forgot we added that to the end of this podcast. What matters to me lately? I don't know. You got anything? I got to think about that.
What matters to me lately? I feel like I had something. I think.
Great podcasting right here.
No, I know. I think, honestly, during the break, quote unquote, whatever. I think we had a break.
Okay, I do think I know what I got.
I played a lot of Sims, and that mattered to me.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's mine.
I think what mattered to me is habits. So I've added this new.
Yours is so like.
Well, it's only because like I just got a notification like not too long ago on my watch. So I use this app. It's called the Habit app, and it basically like I have things added into it. So like one of my habits that I've added is like exercise whatever amount of time a day. I have vitamins, drink water, get some. So I have like a list of habits, and I'm tracking it like to see, okay, what am I actually doing? What am I not doing? Some of it is just like, I also need to remember to put it into the app, but whatever. So
you're really focused.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So, and then one's like reading whatever amount of pages a day, So like trying to track, because I think seeing it, and it's so funny. Today we were listening to something, and the lady on the podcast said, she talked about like tracking whatever it is that you're doing, because she said what gets measured gets managed. And I was like, oh, that was good. I'm gonna use that. And I ended up using it the same day on the podcast. What gets measured gets managed, and the Habit app helps me measure how I'm doing on certain things that I've made a priority this year.
And that's what I was gonna ask you. So what you're measuring, do you feel like you can manage that? Like, do you feel like it's sustainable how you're tracking things right now?
Yes, because I don't have everything like, you have to do this every day.
Okay.
There's like, some of them are like, all right, you have to do this at least 5 times a week or whatever. They're not like hard set, like 7 times a week. And if you don't do it 7 times a week, you're a failure. Like, Jesus Christ. It's like, I have a few set for like 3 times a week, 4 times, like, so there. Yeah. I tried to create something reasonable.
Okay, good. Because that's what because I think for me, when I mention Sims, what matters to me is like rest, like having time to like, if I want to chill, I could chill.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get to it.
Yeah.
So I just, it's only January. I just don't want you to burn out.
No. And I had this conversation, and this will be how we end it because I don't want to go too far into this.
Okay.
But I did have a conversation with Nick, my brother, where we talked about structure, and I said I like structure because I feel like I have freedom in structure. So one of the things, like, okay, if I go work out first thing in the morning, I kind of have freedom in being lazy a little bit for the rest of the day because, like, I checked that box.
You did everything.
I knocked it out. I do not feel guilty because I did what I was supposed to do or whatever. So, like, I do like the structure because once I knock out whatever my task, and I didn't make them hard tasks. I won't say they're not easy, but they're not like,
they're reasonable.
Yeah, they're reasonable tasks. So it's like, once I knock those things out, I'm like, bro, the day is yours.
Yeah.
But before, the day was always mine. So I just spent time doing this, but at the same time, there was guilt because, like, bro, I know there's something else I should be doing or I could have been doing. But now I was like, okay, if I check, like, oh, you did that. Oh, you did this. Like, no, bro, you're okay. You're fine. Yeah. You can do X, Y, Z because you already took care of the things you were supposed to take care of. So I found freedom and structure.
Nice.
So, yeah.
We did have a listener who shared 19 weeks ago what mattered to them. And that's at Just Generis. She we shouted her out
probably a few times
years ago.
Yeah.
No, not a few times, just once. She was our photographer once. And she's no longer a photographer, but she said what matters to her are experiences with her kids. And she was able to travel with her 2 daughters and husband. I forgot where, but it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Because she was a photographer for someone, and they were like, "Oh, well, I'll also pay you, to be on vacation with me and just take all my pictures."
Dope.
So that was cool. So share what matters to you.
Okay, I like that.
Us.
I like that.
All right, moving forward, business spotlight.
Yes.
I took you on.
Oh my God. And you know what? This feels unfair because we're wrapping this up, but maybe on the next podcast, when we like do the intro, I'll recap this event. But carry on.
Really?
Yeah, 1000%. It deserves that. It deserves that.
So,
because there's 2 businesses to shout out here. The place we went and the event we went to are 2 different things.
I was just gonna shout out the event.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. So I've gone to this event for years, but I'm not consistent. I'm not a consistent attendant. One of my friends, though, she does open mic nights, and she'll sing, or she'll, Rebecca, we had her on the podcast,
or poetry, or
yes, she'll read her poetry, or things like that. And I went for her birthday last year in April, and I was like, I forgot just how Black this event was.
Yes, ma'am.
I need to come back with jocks.
Yes.
So I said, okay, I'm going to take him. And first date night of the year, I took him to the Love Jones open mic night, presented by TJ Hope Presents. And they do like different events that you guys can discern what you want to attend. Yeah. But I decided to just go to the Love Jones because I think that's all I need to do. And we had a really good time.
Yeah, we did.
Right?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Okay. So if you guys don't like spoken word,
comedy,
comedy, various levels of talent and creativity, don't go. But if you're okay with a, lemon pepper wet,
which was decent,
and a mango Hennessy,
that was also very decent.
Poetry,
that was also
then
very
go
decent.
ahead and support. They have the Love Jones every second Thursday.
Yes, second Thursday.
Yep. No, you were gonna like it that much.
It's not even. I can't. It's one of those things like you can't explain to you. Like you just gotta come with me.
So years ago, they used to have it at the Hard Rock.
Okay.
So this was I'm talking like 2012. Yeah, before marriage. And she would sing there, and we would go like a couple times, or I would go a couple times.
Yeah.
But the Hard Rock has completely changed. It's like a whole nother place now. Yeah. So, not as many blacks anymore. And so now they do it at Sunrise.
Yes.
And I think this is going to be, or from what I hear, this is going to be a more consistent location where we went, which I forgot what it's called.
JD's Bar and Grill.
JD's Bar and Grill. But yeah, it's typically in the Sunrise area.
Yeah.
Now. So if you guys want to support,
go
creatives.
Yeah.
Of all sorts.
And participate if you're into that kind of thing. And participate.
Yeah. The mic is always open, you know.
It's a very supportive community.
It is. And it's a good time.
I love black people.
As far as I'm concerned.
I love black people. So I'll be back.
Okay, good.
That's a fact.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
So I think we had a successful first date night of the year.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know how to take your responses, but
I legit had a good time.
Okay, good.
But it's something you got to experience. People got to experience with me.
Okay.
All right. So and the next one's probably like real close to Valentine's Day. Oh, it's gonna be lit. Oh yeah, I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm there.
Y'all have fun. Yeah, I mean, no, like don't get me wrong. I love this event. Yeah, I don't go all the time though. Yeah, but I do.
I'm gonna go again.
Please support. So yeah.
All right. I think that's
it. Please subscribe and rate us on Apple Podcast. Leave a little review there. Send us comments on the gram or leave us a voicemail at 954-652-6519. And support the podcast. Check the links on our website. Partnered with and some deals. We're revamping that as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, man. Another one in the books.
Bye.
See ya.